I have finally reached level 90 and reached tier 15 maps, so I want to make a build overview, showcase how the proper endgame version of this build works. The main idea of the build is Clash support. Support skill to deal more melee damage against enemies with a higher percentage of life than you. We use Lich Ascendancy to stay on low life, specifically by specking and unspecking CI while this node is allocated. And I can set myself to precisely 1 life. That means that Clash support never has its downside, it's only a pure upside, 40% more damage. Next, Execute support. Support skills deal 30% more damage with hits against enemies that are on low life, and while you are on low life. Same deal, this is just 40% more damage. Really huge for PoE 2 supports. It's hard to find support gems that give you these big of multipliers, basically no downside. Lich itself has damage bypasses energy shield, which when your life cannot change means that it's just pure DR damage reduction. We can pick up additional damage reduction over here, and I can pick up additional damage reduction from Zeus Disdain. In total it's 25% damage reduction. 25% of my damage bypasses energy shield, and it's just being deleted. To further enhance survivability, I'm using pure ES energy shield gear, and I'm specking plenty of energy shield on the tree, as well as specking increased recharge rate, faster start of energy shield recharge. This gives me plenty of energy shield, lots of survivability, and I'm playing on hardcore, so made it all the way to level 90. It's pretty good. ES is pretty busted, although as I'll mention further, it's not without its downsides, and there are certain things that you need to be careful on this build. So, further boosting my damage and just utilizing the low life trick, I'm doing Pain Attunement, less critical damage when on full life, more critical damage bonus when on low life, so always more critical damage bonus. I'm starting to spec into crit, although leveling in PoE 2 is pretty slow, but yeah, all of my next points are going to this crit wheel. I'm getting some crit from Quarterstaff nodes. And then there is Killer Instinct, 60% increased attack damage while on low life. And there is this node, Quick Response, faster start of energy shield recharge when not on full life. So all of these bonuses are available to me because I am on 1 life, as well as the fact that I am bleed immune. Enemies that hit me with bleed bypasses energy shield, but my life cannot change, so nothing bleeds me. I'm using Quarterstaff. Quarterstaffs have stat requirements that are more favorable to my character, and Quarterstaff skills have stat requirements that are more favorable because I don't have to stack huge amounts of dexterity or strength like I would have to with maces, for example, and a lot of Quarterstaff skills are melee, including Tempest Flurry, but worth noting that this concept works with any melee skill, so if you want to use this concept with some other melee weapon, other melee skill, other Quarterstaff skill, maybe you can share in the comments how well that goes. It'd be pretty cool to find out if somebody maybe makes a mace Lich. For skills, I'm using Tempest Flurry, Clash and Execute are the core of the build. Then I'm using close combat, self-explanatory, rapid attacks for fast attack speed, and Crescendo 3 for clear. Against single target like big pinnacle bosses, I can swap Crescendo 3 for Elemental Armament 2, or for Rage on Hit. I think Rage on Hit is going to be better. Next, Charge Staff. It's a buff. I am expecting into additional power charges in order to get more out of Charge Staff. It gains added lightning attack damage per power charge consumed, up to maximum. So the supports on it are Prolonged Duration, Perpetual Charge, Elemental Armament, and Execute for damage. Clash does not work here because this is not melee skill. In order to generate power charges for the skill, I'm using Gathering Storm and the Siphoning Strike. So Gathering Storm, channel skill with a perfect mechanic, so perfect timing mechanic. You have to release it at the correct moment, and then it drops Shock Ground. It's itself melee attack. It causes a bunch of shockwaves, so it's really good for initiating and charging into packs. It just immediately makes a big explosion. Clash Execute, Persistent Ground for more duration of shock ground, and so it doesn't get destroyed. Lightning Exposure, it's called Lightning Exposure, but it's just generic exposure now, so any elemental damage I'm doing is getting boosted by this, as long as the enemy is on the shock ground. Siphoning Strike, Charge Perfusion. If I hit a shocked enemy, that gives me charges. That gives me more charges. Clash Execute. It actually does a generous amount of damage, so I can even clear with it. If I hit shocked enemy, pretty decent shocked wave erupts, and it also has chance to daze on hit, which helps stun big targets. In Magnified Area, again, pretty decent explosion when you hit a shocked enemy, so I can even use this for clear on occasions. I'm using two curses, one of them on Blasphemy, one of them just manually, and of course that means I need to spec into Whispers of Doom. Elemental Weakness on Cursed Ground, very convenient, put down up to 2 Cursed Grounds, as long as the enemy in there, they get debuffed. Focus Curse, Titan Curse, and Magnified Area. Curses have to be level 18 in order to work in tier 15 maps, that's the new requirement. Tempest Bell to enhance single target, although I often forget to actually use it. That's fine. As I practice more with the build, I will be a lot better at putting it down, but it's a pretty recent addition and I'm just forgetting to put it down. But yeah, the same thing here. Clash Execute, Heavy Swing. I don't think that penalty here matters for the bell. And Close Combat. Blasphemy is very important. Temporal Chains is in Blasphemy. This setup here slows enemies down by 40% for regular white enemies, and it's very important. One of the weaknesses of this build is the fact that I'm lacking any sort of mitigation, or I'm not lacking mitigation. I have damage reduction from Lich, but I am lacking any sort of avoidance, and getting surrounded in maps, getting pummeled can be dangerous. Temporal Chains really reduces the amount of incoming damage, like by a lot. I've done maps without Temporal Chains, it's a night and day difference. Without Temporal Chains I'm getting brought down to 40-30% life, or yes, regularly. Temporal Chains, almost nothing touches me. Heightened Curse to boost the effectiveness of Temporal Chains. All of this is quite a lot of reservation, but like I said, it's worth it. Convalescence and the button kickstarts the recovery of energy shield, and it cannot be stopped until it's full. Because of all of the investment in energy shield, I have pretty decent recovery rate, and I also have decently short delay, so if I get in trouble, usually rolling a couple of times and just putting a distance between me and monsters is enough to start my recharge, or I can press Convalescence and just immediately start it. In Convalescence I have cooldown recovery, it helps Convalescence itself, and I have Dire Strike. This is obviously just perfect for this build, and Clarity. I only needed extra mana regeneration once I got a Quarterstaff with +6. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but until that I had no problem with mana regeneration at all because of this node, Soulless Form. Generate mana equal up to 6% of maximum life. Once I got the +6, I did have to spec about Dire Strike. You can actually stack Dire Strike 1 and Dire Strike 2 for massive amounts of % damage. If I had more mana regeneration from elsewhere, and if I had more spirit, I could remove these 2 gems and put in Dire Strike 2. This would be a massive damage boost, but when mapping especially, I really prefer to have Titan Curse on Blasphemy. Like I said, it's a huge defensive layer, and Clarity is just nice to have. I should theoretically get more mana regen somewhere on gear, and then I'll be able to drop it, and then possibly use Dire Strike 2 instead of Dire Strike 1. But if you're on softcore and you just don't care about dying occasionally, you want more damage, you can remove Titan Curse for Blasphemy and remove Clarity and just socket Dire Strike 2 as well as Dire Strike 1. They both stack. I don't know why that works, probably shouldn't work, but at least for this league it works, so use it. And I just noticed that my Convalescence is horribly out-leveled, it's a little bit there. For Ascendancy, I started as Essence Drain Lich. This build doesn't come online until about the end of the campaign, when you start dropping the level 5 support gems, because I believe Execute is a level 5 support. Dire Strike, I think one of them is earlier, one of them is 4th, and Clash is 3rd level support. But until about the end of the campaign, it's difficult to be on low life because you need actual energy shield gear. I swapped from energy Essence Drain Lich once I had about 4,000 ES. It was mid second interlude. Up until then, I took these 2 nodes. The 3rd node I took was Phylactery. In hindsight, it might have been better to take Rapture the Soul. Rapture the Soul really helps with clear, and it's one of the things that build struggled a lot early, is clear. But when I put Crescendo 3 in, and when I had the explosions from my Ascendancy, this became a lot better. The final node is Phylactery. Nothing else here is really useful for a non-spellcaster build. I guess this is potentially useful, but chaos damage is not really something I'm specializing in or scaling in anyway, so I just took explosions. Gear, just pure energy shield gear. This chest I self-crafted. I can still improve it by fishing a higher tier of flat energy shield with light omens and stuff. That's one of the things I'm probably going to do later on. when I get more funds. Boots are just temporary. I need boots with 100% increased effect of socketed runes. There's a new socketable eye. It's called Tech Rod's Gaze, and it gives 10% movement speed when on low life with an increased 100% increased effect. It's a Hysteria essence. It actually gives 20, so it's a huge movement speed boost. Right now I don't have it, it's quite expensive, but because I am finally in game, I can farm. It's probably going to be my next upgrade, is these boots with a lot of speed. Gloves, just ES, lots of ES resistances. I definitely need better gloves at this point. Staff, actually got really lucky. I fractured attack speed, and because you can force suffixes, good suffixes now, I can in theory upgrade it a lot more. For now it's doing the job just fine. I'll include the tier 2 King of the Mist in the showcase. The damage is pretty good. I'm pretty sure I can take on the tier 3 one as well. One thing to note here is I've opted for damage as extra cold essence instead of damage as extra lightning, like a lot of people do. You can do either of them. I just figured that because I'm already shocking with the short ground, I value more the ability to freeze and chill. So I'm going for extra cold damage instead of lightning, but if you want more just raw damage and higher shocks, you should go for extra lightning and stack lightning damage. But it's also a little bit more expensive. At Serious Disdain, there is not much I can do on hardcore with it. On softcore you can get one with 3 sockets. Go for it. Chaos resistance is very important. This build is a non-CI ES build, so I'm just straight up taking twice as much damage from Chaos as normally would, so it is mandatory to cap Chaos Res, which is why I have Takati's Soul Cores in the helmet. It's a good place to have them because I don't need iron runes in the helmet. It doesn't by itself give a lot of energy shield. Rings and belt, I am right now just using them as means to cap my resistances and get a little bit of rarity. I don't have a ton. On hardcore, survival is the first priority, then everything else. But as my gear gets better, as I get more resistances, I will be able to put more rarity on rings, and I will probably eventually want to save up for Headhunter. Now, if the build dies before that, I guess unlucky, but if I can, I will save up for Headhunter eventually. Amulet, I need Spirit, I need Energy Shield. This is not really great amulet. I can definitely craft something greater. But yeah, what I'm looking for are resistances, rarity potentially, but big thing here is Spirit and either global defenses from the essence, or if I can roll it, Energy Shield. Ideally it's Energy Shield, Spirit, and then whatever suffixes. One thing I forgot to mention is this flask. I saw this tech on Dreamcore's video. Since my life flask is not useful to me due to me staying on low life, and I am a melee build, this gives me rage generation in fury. I just plain forget to press it. It's really annoying to press. The duration is only 7.5 seconds. It's not a mandatory thing, but this is also not an expensive flask, so I just have it. If I press it, I press it. If I forget to press it, then I forget to press it. This is not a good method of rage generation, and I'm probably going to get a new jewel that drops from rogue exiles that spawn near abysses. I can't remember what it's called right now, but it can roll a rage gain on melee hit and energy shield bonuses, like I think energy shield from your chest, so it will be just ideal for me. but it's probably going to be very expensive, and I don't even know if it's going to pop up on hardcore. I'm going to really look for it. No, hopefully. There is a jewel that drops from Olref, and it has 3 variants. One of these variants gives increased evasion rating per points of intelligence. It might be a good idea to get this jewel, have my intelligence give me evasion rating instead of mana, since my mana regeneration is not dependent on my mana, it's dependent on my HP. This won't hurt my mana regen, it'll just reduce my overall pool. That's fine. And spec into this node and run a hybrid chest. I am not sure if it's worth it. I would have to try. In order to try, I need to make more currency, but it's a possibility. I would definitely go for something like that if I was planning on doing simulacrum or some like really juiced abysses or breaches. But I think right now I'm perfectly fine doing rituals and maybe bossing a little bit even. This build should be really good for bossing. I should be able to tank most of the things that bosses can throw at me. So yeah, this is about it. Enjoy the showcases.
The floodgates open. Death is my power to wield.
falls one piece at a time.
Let the tide take you where it must.
Cast Thorn Grip! Thorn Grip! Bid the
I
darkness.
need more time.
Fire! Marked for death! Nothingness approaches. Fire! Traveler's Bane! Blades! Huntlet! Bid the darkness.
A cute trick, but a stall at best.
The Wild One's power is mine!